The world is in the middle of an energy crisis brought about by the U.S. Israel Iran war. Before the war began, the Gulf Arab states were producing 15 million barrels of oil per day and roughly 20% of the world's liquid natural gas supply. The war has driven up the price of insurance premiums to the point where it is no longer cost effective to take the risk of moving a tanker through the straits. Also, the people who work on tankers do not want to become casualties in a war they did not start. It simply isn't worth it. And so, with a decreased supply, the price of energy has increased, which you will feel in two major ways: at the gas pump and at the grocery store. Gas has already become more expensive and could stay that way for some time. Food prices, which were already high, will increase if they haven't already, as fertilizer and transportation costs rise. Besides direct costs, there are also the big picture costs. The US has spent about 25 billion on this war so far. The strategic aims of this war have not been clearly articulated, and the supposed off-ramp negotiations may be a ploy. It's hard to tell, which means we can't really estimate how much this conflict could cost the American taxpayer in the long term. Even though US Israeli air power has destroyed the Iranian Navy, destroyed significant surface to air capabilities and war making industry, the Iranian regime remains. In fact, the only ones still making money off of energy exports through the straits are the Iranians. Iran is selling crude to China and India, and with crude at such a high price and Trump waiving some of the sanctions on Tehran, they've made a huge profit. One of India's largest firms just purchased 5 million barrels from Iran at a $7 premium. What does this mean? This means that the bureaucracy and military, the two pillars of the Iranian government's hold on its society, will remain paid, even as the regime struggles to provide basic amenities to its people. The Iranian regime will continue this fight until President Trump's position becomes untenable. All they need to do is outlast his will to continue the war. Of course, the greatest cost is the casualties suffered. 13 U.S. service members have been killed and hundreds wounded. Israel has lost close to 20 service members, and Iran has reported 6,000 casualties dead and wounded, and nearly 1,400 non combatant deaths. I don't believe the civilian number has been independently verified, but it does seem likely that it was a U.S. airstrike that hit that school, and there certainly have been civilian casualties. So those need to be investigated by independent bodies. So with midterms, fast approaching and support for the war low, there may be a broader push by Republicans to resolve the conflict quickly. But Trump is a lame duck president with a personality that suggests he will double down. We've seen him move elements of the 82nd Airborne Division and Marine Expeditionary Units into the Middle East. He may make a move to secure the Hormuz Straits with ground forces or take the vital Iranian Kharg Island. Iran will retaliate if either of these actions take place, striking Gulf Arab state, energy producing infrastructure and their desalinization plants. These is critical infrastructure. So this would really be an escalatory action. These would be escalatory actions on both sides and really set the stage for the war to expand in scope and intensity, particularly with significant ground forces moving into the area. It's standard tactical thinking that when you are attacking, right, you want a 3-to-1 advantage against an entrenched defensive position. Whatever operation the Trump administration has planned, it must be limited in scope due to the limited numbers on hand. And it's only about 10,000 additional troops being moved to the Middle East that has about 45,000 other personnel there normally spread across bases in the Gulf states. So regardless, if these soldiers and Marines, you know, were to see serious casualties during this operation, Americans may become more favorable to escalating the war. This is where the risk really comes in. It's unclear what the administration's war aims are, and they have no clear means to topple the regime or secure the Hormuz Strait. The war is in an indefinite state with a serious chance of escalating. So that's kind of the grim place I'm going to leave you. There's a lot of different aspects of this conflict to talk about. So next week, we'll discuss the war from the Arab perspective and what their aims are in all of this. Did they want this to happen? Um, and what the ramifications of their actions are. Okay, so if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.